Hello and welcome to Let's Talk About Meh. I am your host, David Hobbs, and today I'm going to go back and talk about Combat League Wrestling Cash is King, the latest Combat League Wrestling show that I was a part of. And we got some stuff to talk about. We have some stuff to talk about because this show was, I'm adamant, and this started as a joke. It started as a joke, but I'm adamant this show was cursed. I'm not kidding. This show was cursed. Anything that could have gone wrong pretty much did go wrong. So, for those that don't know, Combat League Wrestling holds a wrestling show every 2 months. But we have a total of 6 shows in a year, and there's kind of end of May through to when we have the next show at the end of August. We have basically what we call off season. We're not actually off, we're still on. We still train and we still organise and whatnot, but joke wise, it's the off season. That 3-month gap this year was the longest 3 months ever since I have done professional wrestling and since I started wrestling in Caithness. It dragged. There was so many problems. It was awful. I cannot tell you how bad it was. So let's start from the beginning. Booking the August show was more difficult than most because Dunbar is obviously, as I've mentioned in previous videos, booking the shows and whatnot. And when we were having the booking meeting, he had a plan and an idea, and a lot of this just didn't come to fruition because end of August this year, man, every promotion decided to have a show, and a lot of them were having like their big shows. Fair City was having Ardler, and ICW was having shows, and I think Girders had a show on as well. So these are all, for those of you that aren't in the know, these are all other wrestling promotions in Scotland, and just everywhere was having a show. So the people that we wanted to bring up weren't available. However, there was a small mix-up in the date. Dunbar got the date mixed up by a week early. And then we managed to fix stuff. And the people we wanted were like, yeah, okay, we can do it. And then Dunbar had to go back and say, well, actually, it's a week later. And then it turned into, oh no, we can't do that one. So it was just a lot of back and forth. But we got a solid lineup. But there were so many that we could get 1 minute and then couldn't get the next. Then I think that was like weeks long process. Like there was a good few weeks of this. Then I fell behind on getting posters organised and marketing. So that was a stress, that was on me. Just life was constantly just so busy at that point, and I couldn't take a breather to get organised. So I got the posters late. Me and Susan and, did Corbin come out this time? Can't remember, but we posted Thursday and whatnot, and we got most of the places done. So we did get it done, but again, it was just an added stress, and that was running late. Then when things kind of calmed down a little bit, just a little bit, I got a message from Jack, who, if you have been following my channel, I've got a podcast with Jack. Go check that out. It was a great chat. A lot of behind the scenes stuff, but also it was an eye-opening chat for me, realising that Jack has been in pretty much every era of my life in some way. And we universally keep coming back to be creative on things in our own ways. But yeah, so Jack sent me a message, and Jack's done a really, really cool thing where he's created a music charity in the Caithness area called Cameo. I will have links to their socials in the description below. You should check it out and you should support them. And it's a great idea where they're giving opportunities for younger musical groups or musicians to perform in our local area. Now, let me tell you, when I was a teenager, the music scene in Caithness was massive. It was far bigger than it is now, regardless of what some people bitch, whine and moan when I make comments like that, going, there's still music up here. Yes, there's still music up here, but there isn't anywhere near as much as what there used to be. That's not a comment on the quality. That's not me hitting on anything or knocking it, but that's a fact. There was way more bands when I was younger. There was loads in the high schools. There was loads that were touring. And I think, I could be wrong here, because this is me going off information that I can't 100% confirm, but I'm pretty sure that Andy McLeod brought Battle of the Bands back in the high school. And if that's true, good on you, sir. Good on you. Keep that throat moist, Dave. Yeah, so Jack started up a music charity called Cameo, and then he messaged me, and I think there's a committee or something with it, as all things group structured things should have. And he was, I mean, I would have loved to have seen him on the other end of this phone, because I think he was quite nervous, and informed me that he had double booked himself. That the inaugural first sort of like all day music event that Cameo were doing was now going to be held on the same day as the show. And yeah, that was really stressful for me. But I understand, like, Jack didn't have much of a choice in the situation. He was between a rock and a hard place. And immediately he was like, right, we can train up 2 of your boys to do the lights and the sound. And immediately I was like, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And it wouldn't have. Mainly because we're that busy backstage that we're dealing with our own stuff, our matches, our safety, our being creative and running the thing. And this show in particular was just how mental the booking process was, not knowing what's happening. I was like, everyone's going to need as much time as possible to focus on what they're doing. So Jack double booked. So that was the first option, was to try and get 2 folks to train up to do it. Nah. Second option was to get a replacement, but we were still going to be using Jack's equipment because, you know, he's awesome. And that didn't work out either. Then, stupidly, he doesn't know this yet, I've not discussed this with him, but stupidly, I asked at the end of July and I said, what's happening? Do we have a replacement? What I got back from Jack was, oh, it's all fine, don't worry about it, it's all good, shouldn't be a problem. Now, my tism brain kind of like just logged that as, all right, he's got a replacement then. And then I totally forgot about it. Well, not forgot about it, but I was like, right, Jack says it's sorted. I'm not going to stress about that because there's other things going on. And it wasn't until like a week before the show, if that, messaged Jack, and we were like, oh, did you get the replacement? He's like, no, I'm doing it. I said there was no problem. And I was like, oh, I took the message completely the wrong way. I didn't think he was doing it. So that was fine. Jack's locked in, good. I don't need to worry about it. Keep that part of the story in mind. Moving on to the next bit. Over the course of the 3 months, a lot of people just seem to have a lot of personal issues going on at the moment, because I keep saying this, and I don't say it to be negative, and I don't say it to be rough, but it is fucking shit right now. It really is. Like, every person has their own personal problems, their own personal trials, tribulations, traumas, stress, mental health issues, you name it. We all have that. But I think what exacerbates those issues at the moment is everything that's going on around us. The UK fucking sucks right now. It does. From top to bottom. From the economics, the politics, new policies which are extremely scary at the moment on free speech, Online Safety Act stuff. It's scary right now. They were coming for disabled benefits. I think everybody's in a situation right now where we are very aware of the unfairness of how the economic system works against us. A lot of us are working our ass to the bone, not feeling like we're progressing. times have changed so much in the sense of our grandparents could buy a house. We ain't buying houses. If you're buying a house now without any inheritance, then you're doing very, very good with a good job. And it's just times have changed a lot, and costs are always going up to the point now we're beginning to see what I believe to be a bit of a collapse, because food is ridiculous. £9 for a pack of mints is insane. Housing is ridiculous. Bills are ridiculous. And it's a bit of a scary time right now. Very scary time right now. And now we're throwing, which I'm not going to comment on, I've got no fucking education on it, but the whole thing with the arguments on immigration and stuff at the moment is really, 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 really scary. And I think knowing all this, because we all have access to a phone, we all have access to the news, I think this exacerbates our own stresses, our own personal problems, and we don't even realise it. Because we all doom scroll, we all do it, we're all on our phones too much. I am the same. I'm constantly trying to not be on my phone, and Instagram's one of the worst ones for me. Which, by the way, if you are doom scrolling, if you are on Instagram, check out my socials, they'll be in the description below. I mean, if you're going to doom scroll on my face. Wow. What? Doom scroll on my face. Oh, God, that sounds like some sort of new kink. Doom scroll on my face, baby. Ugh. Yeah, so we all have our own personal problems. And that, having those within the wrestling group is no exception. And unfortunately, there was a few performers where I wasn't sure they were going to perform because they're not in a really, really good place right now. That is not their fault. That's not a problem. That's just life. But it did add to the stress of this show because I didn't know if I was going to have the people that were booked anyway. And we were talking like down to the wire levels of if we knew or not, if those folk were going to perform. And luckily everything worked out okay. But again, it was just another thing added. Then everything was going so wrong over a constant period of time. We saw a picture of a truck on fire in Wick. And everything was going so bad that we immediately thought, that's the truck that we hire. That's the truck that we hire, and it's currently on fire. And it was literally just a case of everything had been so bad and messed up and gone wrong that it would not be out of the realm of possible that truck was the one we hired. Luckily, it wasn't. But for a couple of minutes, we were like, yeah, that's the truck. Yep, this is just cherry on top. Then another thing happened. So I was booked against Luke Matthews, Samurai Luke Matthews. Unfortunately, they made the decision to possibly or possibly not continue wrestling, but that was a personal thing. I don't know the ins and outs, but that put a lot of pressure on me for a split second because I was like, there's a possibility that I was his last match, and I ain't that good. I'm not anybody's last match. I am not anybody's last match, especially with the condition that my body's in at the moment, with my back and my hip and whatnot. I was like, nope, can't do it. And just had to, one of the things, you just buck up, get on with it and do your best. So then that was the first stage of that. Then the second stage, once I'd wrapped my head around that, right, I'm gonna do my best, it had gone the other way. So then Luke Matthews then had to pull out of the show completely because his cat got in a fight with an alley cat, and the alley cat scratched the crap out of Luke Matthews' arm, and he needed surgery to fix it. Plus, I don't know, has he got cat hip now? You got cat hip now? Cat hip? Pussy hip? You got the pussy hip? But that sucked. So then, me being autistic, and I kind of need to know what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, how I'm doing it, with a good bit of time ahead, I was just like turning into Kermit the Frog. I was just like, Arr! The amount of stress the show at this point, I was like, I can't take this anymore. I can't take it anymore. But then for a while, just for a little while, everything just, it was ready. We're locked in, we're ready to go to the show. Now, from a personal thingy, my head at this point was completely minced. I just wanted to get to the show, never mind getting through the show. And then lo and behold, about a month before the show, my back went again. And it was a very, very painful one, and it was long, and I couldn't get it better. So on the day of the show, my back was killing me, and I knew that if I wrestled, my hip was going to go. With the constant injury I have at the moment. I'm now on 3 years of having this injury, and I'm doing a lot of stretching, I'm doing a lot of strength training, but this thing is not going away anytime soon, and it's, for lack of a better phrase, it's beginning to fuck me off a lot. When it's at its worst, I'm waking up in pain, I'm going through my day in pain, I can't function properly, and I'm going to sleep in pain, and then it's just repeating the cycle. And it's annoying me because obviously being in pain every day is not great, and then I'm watching my matches back, and I don't think they're bad. My matches aren't bad, and I've been working a lot of like my trainees. I had Jenny's debut match, I had Jack Doll's second ever match, and I come home and I watch them and I'm not happy. I'm seeing this person moving in the ring and it's not me. I'm loving the character work that I'm doing, but my physicality side, it's pissing me off because I'm not moving as good as I should be. And yes, I know that's because I'm injured and I can't be too hard on myself, but it's difficult to see footage of me running that way or not being able to move. And then every week I'm in training and I can't move the way I want to move. And it messes with my head. It really messes with my head. It's the longest injury I've ever had. And then I actually sat with Susan. Well, I didn't sit, we were walking, and I just said it. And you know, you have like an epiphany where you realise, like, holy crap, the last 3 years of me wrestling has not been good. I broke my foot. That was bad. And I pushed through all that, and that was an injury that took a long, long time. It was very, very painful. Then I slipped my disc, not in wrestling. I was walking through the garages and I slipped on mud and my disc went. And then not long after getting over that, I went straight into the hip issue started. And that was 3 years ago. So it's been 4 years of being constantly injured in some shape or form, and it absolutely sucks. And there has been like these like few month-long periods where everything's okay, I feel great, and then I'll just whether sometimes it's not even in the wrestling, it's not even in the training, sometimes I'll just move the wrong way and boom, I'm back at square one again. And it's been tough. And then having to see the footage back where I'm like, I'm better than that, I can go faster than that. So yeah, anyway, tangent over there. So yeah, I woke up on the Saturday morning and my back was sore, but I kind of had a positive mindset. And I was actually feeling pretty good. I was like, regardless of how I feel physically, we're going into a good show. And I actually got a couple of nice comments. One of them was a fan that goes to the show with his family, Chris Hamilton, and he put a message on one of the posts on my Instagram page, which again, you should follow, like and subscribe. And it really picked me up. It really picked me up. I was so happy. It was such a nice comment. You don't hear it often, but it was basically thank you for everything you do, and we appreciate it and we look forward to it. And that really fires me up. Like, I don't get a lot of feedback from my community because I'm not a sociable person. I don't go out and hang out with people. And most of the people I do talk to down the street or I see don't go to my shows because they're not interested in wrestling. So I don't get a lot of thank yous. I don't look for thank yous, but I've now done this for 13 years and I don't get a lot of props for it. I don't get, like, I feel awkward even talking about it. I think I would probably just be like, shut up. But yeah, it really, really picked me up that morning, and I had a nice coffee. decaf now because I can't have caffeine as well. Oh, that's another thing actually when I'm about myself personally, but physically, is my digestion. Not everybody likes hearing about my digestion, Dave, but you're gonna have to sit and listen to it. So my digestion's pretty bad. I have autistic stomach, and I've always had it, and it's getting worse. So now my diet consists of dairy-free, gluten-free, and now I can't have caffeine, and that is depressing. I am finding good alternatives, but it's just, it adds to everything. It does. It adds to everything, and this was happening again worse in that 3-month period. So it was adding to all of this. Good Saturday morning. We'll get there. Sorry, I keep tangenting. Good Saturday morning. Get to the venue. Hi, how you doing? Everybody's happy. Everybody's positive. I'm feeling good. Corvin's with me again for the whole day. He's helping out. He's grand. And then I get a message from Susan saying, we have a problem. And immediately I was like, don't need a problem. Don't need a problem. We've had problems. We're here. No problems. We're here. Just no problems, please. Please, no problems. Phoned her immediately, and she informs me that unfortunately Jack, who again does all the sound and the lights and does a fantastic job, and I've said many times that if Jack can't do it, we can't do a show, because Jack is a huge part of it now. In particular, me. My entrance relies on somebody that knows how to do the lighting and the sound correctly. If somebody doesn't know how to do it, my entrance falls flat. If I don't have any lighting, it falls flat. So it's really important. And Jack is a huge point of it. He's part of the team. He's part of the family. He is an integral part of Combat League Wrestling. So if you all see him on the street and you go to our wrestling shows, thank him for it. Because, as I say, he's a huge part of it. He's helped elevate us from what we were to what we are now. And unfortunately, the problem was that Jack had a bit of a health scare in the morning and could not do the show. And was going to try and get a replacement, but obviously just being within the health scare, we couldn't pressure and say like, hey, what are we doing? What are we doing? So I didn't know what was happening for about 3 hours, roughly 3 hours. I can tell you now, it was one of the worst 3 hours of my life that I can remember. And that's so selfish to say because it was Jack that was having the health scare. But I literally didn't know, are we going to have sound? Are we going to have light? Oh my God, can I put this show on? And then I didn't tell the whole group. I told one person, and then that one person slowly eked it out to the rest of the group. Thanks for that. No, I know why you did it. I think I heard in the corner of my ear, it was a, look guys, we don't know if Jack's going to do the sound of that. So Dave's kind of freaking out right now, so don't fucking annoy him. Which was a good call, because I threw up twice in the bathroom with my nerves. I can't remember the last time I threw up with nerves. I couldn't do anything but sit and wait for hopefully some good news or some even worse news. And I couldn't handle it. It was just the cherry on top of everything, and thankfully Jack pulled through and did the show for us. So, and asked for help, which we keep saying, if you need help on the day, put us to work, and he did. And the type of health scare he had in the morning was not anything minor. It would have been scary, and it takes a bit of toll on the body. So I've already said it, but I'll say it again. And if he's watching this, thank you so much. I appreciate how you went 110% to do it for us. Honestly, I would have understood if you did choose not to, but I really appreciate that you did that. And I know that we tried to get a replacement, but that fell through. But I appreciate you did that, because I honestly don't know what I would have done or said if we couldn't have done it. I think it would have been a case that if I had to cancel the show at that point, we would have been done. I've said that before. Combat League Wrestling has been going for 13 years, and it lives and dies on every show. It runs on one show per thingy. If that one show does not do well, we're done. Because this is something for the community. It's something for the people that get a benefit in training. It's not a career path for me. It's not highly profitable in any sense of the word. It supports itself, and I try and keep the ticket prices as low as I can for my community. But in doing so, it is literally just a show at a time. And I still find it amazing that it's 13 years it's gone for now. 13 years. There was no wrestling in Caithness at all. Not even through the boom of the Attitude Era. We had a couple of like promotions that used to come up every so often. But the fact that there is a homegrown wrestling company in Caithness for 13 years, which broke a 15-year drought in Orkney as well, by going over, is quite an accomplishment. But yeah, it lives or dies show to show. Blah, 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 show to show. So yeah, at that point my nerves were shot. And then my back begins to get worse. Probably just me stressing out and everything, but my back begins to get worse and the pain was getting worse. And then we had a seminar that day that I couldn't take part in, which was unfortunate. And I'll get into more on that in a minute. Wasn't going to, but I'm gonna. Because I said to myself that when I do these Let's Talk About My episodes, I'm going to be candid and I'm going to be honest and I'm going to be straightforward, regardless of if my mouth gets me in trouble. So it's my opinions and it's my experiences of the day. But yeah, my back went and pain went, so I couldn't do the seminar. So yeah, that was unfortunate. Then we go into some of the imports. I know that people don't like using that word, but they are. Not Dunbar on that, but so we had booked Marcus King, which for people that don't know is one half of the tag team in Scotland called KOE. Very, very talented wrestler, very good worker. Didn't really speak to him much, and I didn't really get a chat with him much like that, and he left very quickly after the show. He probably thought, what the hell is this organisation? He recently debuted with KOE on Ring of Honor when AEW and that were over, and yeah, had a WWE tryout as well. So up there. I don't think he knows. He'll know watch my stuff. He'll know about me, but I did find this interesting. He did the whole, shake the hands, nice to meet you. I don't think he actually realises he's met me before. I met him in Glasgow. When he was, by the way, considerably smaller because he was skinny, and now he's built like a brick shithouse. He's huge. The transformation body-wise is unreal. But yeah, I met KOE when they were just two skinny boys, and his Marcus King's brother at a time had longer black hair split into curtains. I remember that. So yeah, I have met you before, but why would you remember me? I'll go and talk about that a little bit more later, match-wise. But yeah, he was up. We had David Devlin up, and David Devlin held a seminar, and the man has lots of years' experience. Was a head trainer at Source, and is currently training at GPWA. I knew going into it that he was a good worker. I knew that he knew what he was talking about. I disagree with his coaching techniques, which I'll be candid about. I felt quite slighted and insulted when he stood in the ring with my trainees and repeated sentences such as, "Oh, well, you don't know what you're doing then. Have you never been taught this?" So I chose after 10 minutes to not watch the rest of the seminar, and I stayed civil. But that fucked me off. And I found that quite rude. I always believe that when you teach wrestling, there should be a level of civility. There are solid foundation basics that you should know in wrestling. But my personal take on it is that it should never be a case of everything in wrestling shouldn't be, this is how you should do it. There should be an open-ended discussion of how could you do it. Because at the end of the day, it has to be creative. If everybody learns it the same way, if everybody doesn't have that level of freedom to be creative, it just turns into the same thing. It turns into a banal product, and who you are as a person and a character will not shine through. Again, very professional. My trainees enjoyed the seminar. It was a personal thing for me, and I felt by removing myself from the situation, because I had a face on me within the first 10 minutes, and I didn't think that was conducive to anything that day. And I'm being rude and checking my phone. And you can stop talking to me. It's the missus. The missus is at work, and I'm sitting here recording videos. Yeah, so it's a hard thing to explain, because it was a good seminar and my trainees learned a lot. They really enjoyed it. They had a good time. It was just, this thing just fucking clicked in my head, man. And I don't think it was anything malicious. As I say, I always attribute it to ignorance and not malice. That's my mantra at the moment. I use that nearly every day now. And it gets me through some sticky situations. But yeah, it grated on me a bit. I've been doing this for 13 years, and I've been training folk for 13 years now. It might not be conventional to what other schools do, but I don't think I'm doing wrong. I've got some really, really tenured trainees underneath that have trained, not underneath, but what's the term? What is the term? I don't like saying trained underneath me. I don't like saying, we'll say within. I've got some really, really good trainees within Combat League. And there's a body of work of not what they do now, but a body of work that I've put myself into and coaching them. And it speaks for themselves. And I'm proud of them for it. So when somebody comes up and not intentionally, but says sentences such as, oh, so you've not been taught right then? Or, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing this. Oh, so you don't know this. You don't know that. And I'm like, all due respect, fuck you. You know? And that was kind of like, this was getting really, really thingy. And I thought, I'm going to have to leave. I'm going to leave and remove myself from the situation, which I did. But yeah, I was a bit pissed off with that. But again, overall, good seminar for them. They learned a lot and they enjoyed themselves. And at the end of the day, that's more important than my butthurtedness. Yeah, so the show overall, spot on. Really, really good show. It was, as of recording this on a Thursday, we did review night last night, and yeah, it was good. Really enjoyed the show. Everyone put in a really good match. Everyone has something to learn from it. Everyone has things to expand upon, get better at. I believe that if you are in a position in wrestling where you look at a match and go, yeah, that was fine, that was great, I did brilliant, nothing wrong with that, then you shouldn't be wrestling, because there's always something to improve on. Now, you shouldn't be negative on yourself and sit there and completely shit on it and dwell on it, but there should always be something that you're like, oh, I could do that better. Even if it's something as simple as like, my footwork's a little bit off there, so I could maybe work on that a little bit. Should always be growing in some way. But yeah, top to bottom, really good. Main event was a belter. Marcus King worked really well with RJ. RJ's, you're still going to get talking about Green Day German though. I've got a thing up here. I'm not keen on German suplexes. Although the German suplex was safe. It was the safest houses, but I don't like bumps where it's up by the neck area. It was good. Good match. Devlin versus Struan Fraser was a good match. A lot of it wasn't planned. It was off the cuff. So you could kind of see the fear in Struan's eyes every so often. The tag match with Jack Daw and Jenny, who are still very, very green, with Connor Rose and Dunbar. Very, very good. Simplify, Richard, simplify. And it looked fun, actually, which is, I like seeing matches where they look fun. They might be terrified at the time and they're like, oh God, oh, why do I remember this and that? But there's fun in it. I mean, it has to be fun. We wouldn't be doing this otherwise unless it wasn't. We have the opener, Remnant versus Lad Chapman. It was a bit much for an opener, guys, but it was good. Ran slightly over time. Stone Malone versus the Harbinger. Two big, beefy boys smashing into each other. It was good. It was really good. And everybody was really supportive of working with the other person. So a lot of the more experienced folk working with my trainees were spot on. And as a whole, the show, I think it really popped, really came off well. And Dunbar's booking is kind of like, you can see the flow of where we're going. And even with all the problems, and wow, like I said, there was problems. Now, on to my match, because this is my video. So, because Luke Matthews had an injury to his arm and had to pull out, I was presented with options of who can we book, and Dunbar put them to me. And I was given some pretty big options. One half of Casino Brutal came up, and a big man came up in front of me. There was a lot of choice, and for some reason I was going through the photos, and a photo popped up, and I went straight away. I don't know if it was Tism superpowers. I saw the photo and I went, him. I want him. And he was Kai Silva, a trainee at Iron Girders. I can't tell you why my brain went him, but something strongly went, that's the one. So I had the options of, there was a business or a promotional side to it as well, because it was such late notice, like it was less than a week-ish, and there wouldn't be time for new graphics, there wouldn't be time for announcing things. So one part of it was, if I get somebody that's well established in Scotland and is very like, knows what they're doing, can put on 5-star belters. One, they're working with a Dave that's not 100% right now. Two, there wouldn't be much buzz to them coming up. There would be no fanfare. And it's a long journey up here, and I want to make it worth people's time so that they get something out of it. And three, the big one, was that I always wanted Combat League to be a space for people to grow and develop. And that really has shined in the past. We've had wrestlers come up that don't have gimmicks they use down in the lower end because they're not allowed, or it's not got that freedom of expression. Up here, we'll talk about it. I think, right, that'll work. We'll go for it. And then I leave them to it. I let them run with it. And I feel that's really worked out well for a lot of folk. I like to think that a lot of performers have found themselves in Combat League. And I don't know if that's a vain thing to say, but it's one of the things I'm very proud of with Combat League, regardless of what people think of it, is that, you know, we have the bubble. If you're in the bubble and you play by the bubble's rules, and respectfully, of course, don't poke the bubble, then you have an opportunity to breathe and be creative and find something different within yourself. So I was like, Kai Silva, trainee, let's get him up. And he came up, and he certainly made an entrance. And I don't know if he knows that I saw this, because I did not rib him for it, and I bloody well shoulda. He walked backstage, and in comes Dunbar. Hello everyone. In comes Stone Malone. Howdy. And then Kai comes in and falls into the venue. Sorry, I'm telling a story. He probably doesn't even know I make videos, but yeah, he fell into the backstage area. Luckily, he didn't injure himself. The bag went flying and everything. And then all you hear is, oh, there's a step there. And I was like, that's how you make an entrance. That's how you let the locker room know, I am here. I have arrived. By face planting the floor. Oh, he must have been like, shit. But yeah. Kai is, first and foremost, I will go into more in depth about the experience I had with him, but I will say this. If you've got a chance to work Kai Silva, do so. He's, from experience I had with him, he's a good man. He's a good man. He was open to things. He listened. He was easy to work with. He's a good laugh, and I think, because I don't know him well enough, but I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. And I really enjoyed not only the match, I enjoyed spending time with him as well. He's a very professional fella, and he's a good laugh, which is, I think that's a combination you want. You want somebody that's a good laugh, doesn't take themselves too seriously, has a passion for what they're doing and finds it fun, but is also a good dose of common sense and is professional at the same time. So yeah, so Kai face planted into the venue. And then when it got to eventually planning the match, it was really easy to plan with. And some people, I think I plan easy. Tags, I don't plan easy because I have ideas in my head with tags and I don't flow them very well. Singles matches, I can be quite rigid in how I want to do them, but I've got like a set, not a set formula, but I've got a set kind of pace that I like when I'm just working normal matches. And I'm in, at the moment with my character and where I am, I'm in kind of the dead spot on the card, which is before the main. So the crowd's like quite tired by that point and we've just come back from the interval and they really want the main. So I'm in these kind of spots just now where it's like, it's quiet, but it's my job to get them back a little bit. And I think the character does most of that work and not actually what my wrestling is. It's more just the spectacle of it. And we're planning with Kai, and then I went to explain to him my character's a bit, out there and everything, and tried to relax him as much as possible by having a laugh and mentioned like, well, I kind of like just walking my matches through beforehand. I like to physically get in the ring and walk it and talk it as we create it. I don't like just, we're going to do this. We're going to do this, brother. We're going to do headlock, takedown, pepper, 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 up, you go that way, that way, that way, that way. I can't do it. I can't visualize it in my head. I need to physically be in the ring. So we get in, and this was only Kai's third live match, I might add. So he did an excellent job. And started it anyway. I was like, right, we'll do a jump start. I'll smack you from behind you and that. And he's like, yeah, it's great. And then I was like, right, what do you do? Okay. Now I've just said to him, you can be as creative as you want. You can be, this is what we're here for. And he goes, oh, I do a Japanese arm drag. And immediately I went, and I felt so bad for him that I'd just given this big spiel. And the first move he said that he does, I've gone, that doesn't work for me, brother. I don't like Japanese arm drags. Sorry. Two parts to this. One, I don't like them because it's just a move that doesn't make sense to me. Like the hook upward, like you hook up and they flip over you. It's like an arm drag mixed with a hip toss. So yeah, I just don't like it. And a lot of people, even professionals, so Sasha Banks is one in particular, if the hook's not deep enough and your jump and flip is not smooth enough, you're going to land on your head and there's no safety or posts. A post is when we physically support our weight on the other wrestler. There's no way to post it. And I'm not a good jump and flip guy, so I explained to Kai, I was like, it's not a move to be doing on me. I'm not the guy for that. So I felt really bad that the first thing he suggested and I shat all over it. And then we kept talking. So we were building the match. And then he goes, I says, what's your finish? And he's like, sky high, which is an elevated sit out spine buster. And with the way my back is and my body, I was like, I can't take that bump, brother. And to be fair, if I could, I would have let him use his finish. I would have like rolled it or maybe foot on the rope or something so I didn't diminish it. But I like people to show what they can do. So yeah, he got a good couple of bump and feeds and I enjoyed the match. I should have been a bit more assertive and given him feedback, but I didn't. But watching the match back, if he ever sees this, just a little bit more fire in your spaces and never pin on your knees. But I really enjoyed the match with Kai. I really did. It was a nice, simple, straightforward bouye match. And planning it was a good laugh. I really did enjoy it and I enjoyed meeting him. Now, I've never wrestled anyone that wears baby oil for a match. And Kai didn't tell me he was going to wear baby oil. And all I remember was he lifted me up onto his shoulder. And again, you post on the chest. And I remember trying to post and all that happened was... And I started slipping. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, this one's sweaty, boy. But it was baby oil. But the heat in that venue at night was rough. That was really, really hard going. Everyone was saying how hot it was with this unseasonably warm time of year. And the air was, it was difficult to get air. But overall, I enjoyed my match with Kai, and then even more so when we got back to the house. We like watching dodgy wrestling, and we find some really, really dodgy stuff, and then we found a playlist. So me, Dunbar, Stone, and Kai started watching some of the most insane stuff ever, and the laugh we had, it was spot on. And I think it's like, that's one of my favorite things now, is to do a show, and then once the stress is done, because I'm not gonna register with the autism, I'm not gonna register how stressful this is for me until probably tonight. I'm still sort of keyed in or masking a little bit when it comes to the review night, so I can't let everything hit me until Thursday night. I'm gonna have a mental drop. I'm gonna feel the adrenaline rush of everything go drop down. I'm gonna feel bored. I'm gonna feel unfulfilled, and then with the mask dropping and the energy levels, it's gonna be a rough time over the next while. But one of the things that keeps me positive and happy is watching those crap matches after, and the laughs after our show. They are so important to me now. So important. And Brody Adler couldn't make this event because she was booked on another show. And I always say this, and I get told off for it, not by Brody, but by other people. I always see Brody as my older sister, although she is younger than me. But Brody, I feel like Brody's like my big sister. I think it's because she rips the shit at me and keeps me in line. But yeah, I missed Brody at this show. I really did, because Brody's another person I like having a laugh with. And absence was felt at this show. And the older I get doing this, the more I realise my time's very limited doing it now. And I don't know how long I'm going to be able to go physically. I don't know how long the company or the group's going to go, because as I say, it's show to show. It's always one of that things. So moments of having these laughs, of just whapping, some PJs on, slapping some comfies, grabbing a Chinese and sitting and watching some awful wrestling and having a good laugh and being shocked and horrified at some of the shit they do. It's important to me, and those are some of the memories I think that I'll keep more than some of the stupid shit I do in the ring. And as I said, so here's a funny picture that I did not take, but I feel like I have to put it up. So I'm going to put a picture up on the screen just now. I'm going to move here so we've got some space to put it up. So yeah, this is a picture of Harbinger, big scary Harbinger, trying to put my hip back in place. Which my wife took. So I don't know why, I found it quite funny. The big scary Harbinger has got me on the floor trying to put my leg back in place. So yeah, overall, as I say, it was a great show, good positives. Top to bottom, everyone did great work. I can't not mention that another problem. I missed it. So there was another cursed thing to it. The referee was very ill. Ewan had a severe chest infection and could not make the show. So we had 2 new referees that was thrown in at trial by fire, and both did brilliantly. They improved match to match as the night went on. That's really impressive. That's really impressive to be thrown in at a deep end and then every match be given little bits of feedback, and then to be adapting and using that feedback in the moment. Excellente. And that's my job for today, is I have to make a lot of voice notes giving everybody individual feedback for the show. So that has been me ranting about Combat League Wrestling. Cash is king. And let's hope the next show, the Monster Mash, which is my favourite show of the year because it's Halloween-y and everybody dresses up, let's hope that one's a little bit less cursed than this one is. But yeah, thanks for listening to this diatribe and listening to my takes and behind the scenes of this. If you could, give me a subscribe, give the video a like, head over to the Instagram or TikTok page, give them a subscribe and a like, and you can get some behind the scenes stuff, either with the wrestling or just my daily life. And I'm also doing gaming news every Friday, so give that video a like and subscribe as well. Thank you for the support as ever, and take care of yourselves. Love yous. Peace.